I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Jolpy and Ghosty.
Your hair looks very nice, by the way.
Thank you.
That's something only we know.
Yup. Does it really, or were you just saying that? Just
No,
because...
I mean, it does, obviously. I'm a fan.
Oh,
Bauhaus.
Okay.
A band we've not done before.
Yeah, this one, CSN. This is his,
What's
his request.
3D?
Huh?
What's
That
3D?
it's just I highlight all the messages that they send to me and copy and paste it in here
Sure.
so I can read it. So it meant that he sent that 3 days before I saw it.
Okay. All right, so this is a god in an alcove. That's a very interesting... Isn't an alcove like a cave or something like that?
He says, I can't believe how hard it is to find good quality Alvin and Chipmunks video to recommend, live or in studio. Makes me wonder, what's even the point of the internet sometimes? Perhaps I'll find something in time for your next Essentials week.
Okay, so an alcove is a recess in the wall of a room or a garden. Okay, good to know.
Oh, I'd like to have one.
A small recessed section of a room. Yeah, okay, so that's what an alcove is. If you, dear listener, would like your song bumped up to the very top of the list, we've got a $75 partner tier. My favorite way of getting your song reviewed is to join an alliance. It starts at Patreon at $1 a ticket and gets you in. Of course, there are other levels where you can get a shirt and a song review, even review a song with us. So you're going to see that hopefully this week with Zonia. One of the village, one of the pinnacles of the village. Okay, so for time and topical political commentary, we've got Middle America with Vin and Sori. We're currently, by the time you're seeing this, inshallah, the Syria documentary will have been published.
Yeah, that's true.
Inshallah. It's a labor of
It's full of information.
Labor of love.
It was actually a pretty fun project because there was a ton of work that had to go into it, and Vin and I did it together. So
Yep.
I did some parts, he did some parts, and then like our work kind of came together.
Yep.
Hopefully you didn't wreck any of my editing work.
I probably did. We have the solution for everything in the Middle East. So tune in. Maybe we can get
Yep.
Mr. Trump to look at it.
Yep.
Yes!
What?
Crush it!
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
A God in Alcove, Bauhaus.
Ready?
Go!
Go.
The dejected, once proud idol, remembered in stone aloud, and on coins his face was mirrored. Take a look, it soon has the day through a fractured marble slab. Renunciation cloud, nourishment and blood from his objects. That mass production profile, he's a god. The rain, so they dreamt in vain. Once he spread the weed and made some gallons for his feet, to the lily poet of our times, horizons underlined, that became the end scene then, opposing figures right by tens of the deeply, every dungeon ever see. He's a god! I'm silly. So silly. Silly, 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 silly.
Huh.
Okay. I thought we were singing about a frog, and then
Huh?
yes.
How could you get a frog from a god in an alcove?
Because he's like it could be like a little inlet inside of a garden, so I thought like maybe it was like a little spot where there was like some water, and so like because go and look for the dejected one, the dejected once proud, idle remembered and stoned aloud, then on coins his face was mirrored. Because you know how when there's like a wishing well, people throw their coins into the wishing well, and so I thought like the frog could see himself. And then his nourishment extract from his subjects. So like I was thinking about like if like the flies were going around and he like would take his nourishment, they were like his subjects, they were going around him, but he like took them in for his nourishment. He's a god in an alcove. Like, you know, like the king of the lily pad, because he's the only one that's like there. And then there was even a part where they said something and it sounded kind of froggish. And there was another one, and then it said unto the lily poet of our time, and I was like, lily poet, like because I'm thinking of lily
like
pad.
lily pad.
Yeah, and then hold on, go a little bit up more. Keep going so we can actually see the words. To take view in his empty stool. A stool is another word for a lily pad. And it's still
Really?
on his lily pad,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
I mean, I thought it
A
was.
stool is another
I thought so.
Really?
Maybe not.
lily pad stool. Okay.
Your computer is so friggin' slow. I don't know.
You just completely made that up, babe.
No, I thought it. Look.
100% made up.
Oh, that's like
Yeah,
the
it's a
actual.
stool.
Made a stool out of a lily pad. Okay, well, that's what I thought it meant. So.
When did you come to the strange realization that
Well,
perhaps a song entitled "A God in an Alcove" was not about a frog?
Because, like I said, he was the god in his alcove, you know? When I started saying, wait a minute, was clawing adornment for his crimes. They saw that they had to draw the line, so they sent him far away. They sent him far away to a little alcove. All alone, he's a god. There was something it said like a he's a god. Where's the part?
Yeah, thrice by 10.
Oh, yeah. Where is that? I had no idea. Okay, love became the theme then, opposing fakers thrice by 10. That made no sense to me at all. So I just couldn't help it. And like, I looked on the side over here where it does the lyrics.
Yeah.
And then I saw something about a Christian. Then I stopped reading because I hate reading it. But then I said, oh, this must have something to do with not frogs, but
Honey,
religion or something.
thrice by 10 is 30. Fakers, 30.
30
God,
fakers?
30 pieces of silver, fakers.
How is that fakers? They was real silver. What is happening
Because
here?
Judas was a fake disciple. He was pretending
Yeah. Oh.
that he
Yeah. Okay.
loved Jesus, but then he sold him out.
Toadstool. What's a toadstool?
Okay. I'll just let you finish.
Oh, okay, fine. Go ahead. I'm sorry. But I have to know. Toadstool. Oh, it's a mushroom. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's a mushroom that grows in the poop of frogs.
What? No, I don't believe that.
Okay, get out of Google Images and go to all, and you'll see it yourself.
It doesn't say anything that it comes from toad poop. You know how small toad poop is? I mean, think about it. I've been pooped on by a toad. It's really small. It wouldn't grow a big mushroom.
All right. So it's probably not about toads or toadstools.
Okay, all right.
The thrice by 10 I thought was pretty obvious. Opposing fakers thrice by 10. Don't perceive his empty plea. That redundant effigy, which I'm assuming would be the crucifix or a crucifixion or whatever.
Wow. Okay.
Right? Because it just seemed to me to be about his perception of, when was this written? 1980. Before we were born. Mm-hmm. But he's talking about, in my opinion, he's talking about how the Western world kind of has done God and money and all the rest of it, and how it's come in, and so it's no longer God has kind of been relegated to a little, basically a little statue, and you can sell him out for money and you can trade him, and so now he's like a god by himself in a little alcove. Of course. It really kind of speaks to a certain perception of the divine being, namely that he made us so that he wouldn't be alone, so that he'd have people. You remember that time that you, when we first met or whatever, and there's this book, and God is up there.
Divine romance.
He's up there, and he's so lonely. And so he's like, man, what am I going to do? I'm so lonely. I know, I'll create people, and then I'll have people to like me and love me. And you thought that was so romantic.
Oh my gosh, oh, that's so cute.
And I was thoroughly offended. I was like, this girl's probably not really a Christian.
I was like, he created, because Christians are called the bride of Christ. So I was like, oh my gosh, he was lonely, and just like he gave Adam Eve, he created us as his Eve, and
yeah, it was a pretty blasphemous book. It was like God made He made Adam for Eve, and then because it says, in the narrative, there was not found a suitable partner for Adam. Yeah. And then the author said, and so then God gave Eve to Adam, and then it said that there wasn't a suitable partner for God, and then then God creates this girl for himself, and he's chasing her around.
Because she's always J. Rue.
Yeah. And then at the end of the book, it says the girl is you. That's like the big climax, and it's like God would be lonely with it. So it's like it's kind of that worldview. So I read the book in like a day between heavings and puking. And I usually don't puke because I think it's gross, but that
you literally threw up?
No, I didn't. I mean, literally.
Oh well, I never know with you.
It was a stomach-turning book.
Strange reaction.
Then she's like, "What'd you think of the book? What'd you think of the book?" And I was like, "Oh, thank you for sharing it."
You didn't. You told me.
Well, you could kind of tell that I wasn't really feeling it, but I didn't really have the heart to tell you that it was a heretical book. And
you in so much told me that because
Well, you kept pressing me, and I said what I said initially, because the Bible study was about to start. I said we're no improvement on the Trinity, and then I went away to my Bible study.
We're no improvement on the Trinity. Yeah, but you must have said more because.
Well, yeah, after because you would say
I can't let it go.
You cornered me. I was trying to go home. And you cornered me, and you're like, what does that mean? Da, da, da. And I was just explaining to you, like, look, I don't believe that God was ever up there going, oh, I'm so lonely. Mm-hmm. Because we believe that God is a Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and that they had a massively intense, loving relationship for trillions of eons before we were ever even a spark in our granddaddy's eye. So he didn't create us because, he was lonely and needed something. Mm-hmm. Which, of course, was disappointing to you, but to me was the ultimate compliment.
Yeah.
Because to me, I'm like, I love the fact that God doesn't need me, but that he wants me. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love the fact that God could do very fine without me, but he chooses to make me and then go all this way to have a relationship with me. To me, that's more of a divine romance than this idea that he was just lonely and whatever. Because then it's like, well, then he could have got anybody.
Yeah, but you don't like that whole.
Like to me, like if you're on a desert island.
Yeah.
And like, let's say you get two people that genuinely hate each other. Like, there's a particular person that you're like, if I was alone on a desert island, like, and I believe you, like, for the first 3 years. But I feel like in year 4, you'd be like, he's the only person. Oh, but it's just human. It's human nature. He's the only person there. What are you gonna do? So it's like if you portray God as
Would you?
Well, I'm different. You know that I'm different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be completely fine with one person on, especially I'm thinking of one particular person. Like, I would be completely fine with her on one side of the island and me on the other side of the island and never speaking or talking to that person. And you know I could do that. So
it depends on which version of you I'm seeing.
You're not capable of that. You just not. It's not a flaw. It's not a flaw. I think I'm the flawed one. My point is that, you know, the idea that God's kind of alone on a desert island and that you just happy to be the person that's there, and then he, you know,
it's not like that.
But
Because he created
if there's
her.
trillions of people on the island and he goes, you, I go, oh, okay, now I must be important.
No, because what he did is he created trillions, and he said, "But these are my brows."
No, he was lonely.
Yes. That
There's
was
nowhere
thing.
in the Bible ever says
No,
God
I
was
know.
lonely.
I know that now because he had the Trinity.
It's heresy.
And then he said, like, Jesus was praying, and he was like praying that we would have the same love and closeness
That they have. Correct.
So, like, obviously,
that they may be one as we are one,
Yeah.
Father, so that they may believe and the world will know that you sent me and have loved them even as you loved me.
Yes,
John
I know
chapter
that.
17. That's my favorite chapter in the Bible.
Yeah, I remember that actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 'Cause you've said this is my favorite, but I think that's actually your favorite.
John chapter 17 is
It's like right up there
just ridiculously
on the favorites.
beautiful, beautiful passage.
So anyway,
I shared that with a close friend of mine who had a miscarriage.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, when I, you know, the one where he says, Father, I want those you've given me to be with me where I am to see my glory.
Yeah.
And I was explaining that, you know,
To help her?
Jesus just wanted the baby back, man. And so, yeah, it was very helpful to her. She said she'd been holding on to it, so.
Oh, that's good.
Shout out to the big homie. But, I kind of said something really heretical about it. I said, you know when you give somebody a really important thing as a kid, you know, like you were feeling generous and you gave something away as a kid, and then the person's playing with it, and then you're like, "Now give it back!"
Yeah.
So that's what a miscarriage is. So, yeah, I had a ancestral deflection to enhance
My destiny.
my destiny.
I don't know if that's what he said.
I had an ancestral diversion
That's good. That helped me to stop
to
crying.
enhance my destiny. I said I had an ancestral diversion to enhance my destiny. Hey,
Nobody's gonna know what you're talking
If you
about.
can figure out who the hell said that bullshit, I will send you a free signed Vin and Sori shirt.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah. Email us at vinandsori@gmail.com.
gmail.com. If you figure out that bullshit, we were laughing
Put the
at that.
person's name in the
Can
subject.
we watch that again tonight?
Oh, I would laugh about that again tonight. Yes, for sure. Yeah, but you have to start with the introduction, and then you can go to that.
Okay.
No, if you say that, that's
Prince
too
of
much.
Pan-African. He's still not gonna get it. He's white. Prince of Pan-Africanism. The greatest speaker alive.
Yeah, that one goes to the century.
The best black teacher of this century. And the greatest clinical psychologist in history.
History. History.
I said I had a ancestral diversion.
If you guys can find this, I'm telling you, it's
Whoever figures that out will be
funny.
rewarded handsomely.
yeah.
Oh, black people, we are doomed. There's no. You see a guy like that? I just go, we're
but
doomed. That's
the
it.
thing is, you guys are
I
fun.
just tell all my sons to marry white people. That's it. Black race is doomed. Once that guy gets on there, forget about it. Okay, back to our rescheduled program. So, yeah, so as a Trinitarian, you know, the idea that God could ever be alone is a silly idea.
Right.
However, I think that if you don't have an understanding of the Trinity, then there is kind of like Islam is what you would call monotheistic Unitarianism, which is the idea that God was God and completely alone for all eternity. And so, which then creates a lot of really interesting philosophical conundrums, like, you know, when Aquinas used to say was, well, if God is Unitarian, then that would mean that he's dependent on his creation because in 1 John we're told that God is love, like the essence and substance of what God is love. So if God is love, and love can only be expressed through affection to the other, to somebody that's not you.
Oh, then God couldn't be love
then
unless
God
there was...
could not be love unless he was dependent on his creation. So Aquinas' argument was... Aquinas saw this delivered by the Trinity because while God is one in essence or nature of being, he is unified, is complex in his unity.
Yeah.
And so you have three separate persons, so they're able to give and receive love from the beloved without the necessity of creation.
That's cool.
So, have
you told me that before?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Pretty sure I did, but you were probably ignoring me because you were too busy. You probably had an ancestral diversion to heighten your destiny.
Or a sandwich.
So,
one or the other.
so yeah, I mean, I think it's a really interesting idea what he's saying, but of course I don't think this guy's getting that deep. I just think he's, like, for example, when he's talking about go and look at the dejected, once proud, idle remembered and stolen aloud, then on coins his face was mirrored. Take a look, it soon hath slithered. It seems to me, the only thing I can see from that is we having God we trust on our money.
Oh. No,
right?
But it says face.
Right, I understand that. But then, and I'm assuming, I don't know if this, what type of band this is. I don't know if the Bauhaus is a European. Are they European or are they American? Bauhaus band or Bauhaus. I don't even know how to pronounce these guys. So I don't know where these guys are from, but I don't know of any country that has God or Jesus on their coinage.
Yeah. I didn't know if you said anything for here, but no.
But I mean, it could be metaphorical to simply just say that God has now been, you can convert it to money. I was watching a thing where there was a guy that sold like a shoe like filled with holy water for like $1,500, and it sold in like 3 minutes on Amazon. And then there was this other guy that's like selling these coins because you're supposed to pray for Donald Trump because apparently the devil wants to destroy Donald Trump.
First of all, what religion is this that sold a wallet?
Who else
Catholics?
could it be? But no, Catholics don't do that.
Who does that?
Not anymore. I mean, they used to, but
who does that?
It's sorry, but Pentecostal, like evangelical.
Yeah, but come on. He said, take off your shoes. This is holy ground.
Yeah.
And now you're saying there's holy water inside of some filthy shoes?
And then there's
Come on.
Then the other thing, the way you can walk with God.
You lost your $1,500 and good for you because that was stupid.
A stock for a law. How could you say that? There's a lot of people that don't have... Honey, when I first met you, you fell for a lot of...
I would not have bought a shoe with nasty water in it.
You were listening to Benny Hinn, Mr.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were.
No, I wasn't.
I said that Benny Hinn was a heretic, and you were like, no.
No.
You might not agree. No, you said, this is what you said. You said, you might not agree with him, but God's working through him, and da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, because I didn't necessarily agree with him either.
He was slamming people with his jacket.
But I had met people that had been healed by him, so I was like, I don't know what to do with that.
All I'm saying is that, religions have been known to convert theology into currency.
For sure.
Like I said, there was this guy, and the devil's after Trump. It's not that he's doing and saying things, or it's not that people have policy issues. No. It's just they're the devil. Yeah. And so he says, we've all got to pray for our president. Okay, fine. The Bible says pray for your leaders. Okay, fine. At the time that was written, the leader was Nero, who's literally the Antichrist. But okay, let's keep praying. Okay, fine. And then he says, now I've got this coin. And this coin is a point of contact. This is a true story. This coin is a point of contact. So I pray for it. So when you hold this coin, it's like me and you are holding hands praying for the president. Okay, fine. And the coin is only $45. So he's literally converting God into currency.
Well, I remember we had done this thing one time where we were passing out water in our city. And you and I were just barely friends at that point. But we had all split up into basically like these groups, and we were just bringing people water and just talking to people. And this lady was like, just come in. And I was like, okay. So me and this guy went into her apartment, and she was like, had a super, super hard time breathing. She was on oxygen, and she had a little dog there, and she had like this big, like almost like a carpet looking thing on the wall, but it had like the the Last Supper scene on it. Anyway, she, I sat and I talked to her for a while, and she really wanted me to come back and teach her more stuff from the Bible. So I came back, and she was like, yeah, she's like, let me, I want to show you something. And so she showed me, she had been getting this mail. Do you remember where it was from? It was, anyway, she was getting some Matthew seed, or I can't remember what it was called. But anyway, she was getting this mail from this religious organization that was saying, like, if you send us your money, if there's, if somebody has ailments, or if you're poor, like, you're gonna get blessed, like, 4 times as much as you send, it's gonna come back to you. Healings will come to you if you do this. She, bought, there was like a certain prayer rug that you could have, and but the prayer rug was like just like a piece of paper that had like a print on it, and it said like kneel down and pray on the prayer rug, and then send in your money, your seed. They called it your seed. Send in your seeds, and then it's gonna multiply for you and stuff. And so she had a friggin' stack like of these letters that they had sent to her, and she said, I'm having trouble because I'm on a fixed income, and she said, my health has deteriorated so much that I'm barely able to send any, and they told me if I don't send them any more, that basically, like, it's gonna basically go backwards for her. But she's like, it was already, she's like breathing in this oxygen, and it's gonna go backwards for her, but it was already so bad for her. I was like so angry with this organization, and I told her, I'm like, that's not from God, that is not God at all. And then like I shared some scripture with her and stuff, but she was scared to death to stop sending them money because she was afraid that something bad, it was like be a bad omen, and that she was, death would come to her. So yeah. I told her, I'm like, I'll handle it. So I called them, and I told them, I'm like, what you guys are doing is completely wrong. Like, you are swindling this woman out of money she doesn't even have. And like, but they don't care. They don't really care at all. So she ended up, I told them, don't send her any more of your mail. But I honestly don't think that she stayed not sending them money. I think that she went back to it because I think she felt like it's going to get too bad. And she also had a son that was like, they weren't connecting anymore, and so like that was part of it too. Like, it would help you reconnect with your kids, and so she really wanted that connection before she died and stuff like that. And I just thought, wow, I was so angry with that stuff. It's like,
that's why you have Luke chapter 20 verse 45. While all the people were listening, Jesus said to his disciples, beware of the teachers of the law. They like to walk around in flowing robes and love to be greeted with respect in the marketplace and have the most important seats in the synagogues and places of honor at banquets. They devour widows' homes and for show make lengthy prayers. These men will be punished most severely.
Yep. So
there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up my whole life seeing that bullshit happen. So that's going to be a rough chat.
I know.
Unless you repent, you evil motherfucker. Okay. Let me collect myself. So yeah, I think so. So you have like you got that right, like where it looks like it's talking about converting money into coinage. And so, like, God has kind of lost his significance in our world. Once he spread the rain, so they dreamt in vain. Once he spread the wheat, had made garlands for his feet, until the lily poet of our times horizoned on the line. Love became the in theme.
Hold on, it's too noisy. You guys, what's going on with the baby? Okay, you guys need to take care of. We had to stop the video to come out. What?
Just bring him in the room.
Please take care of him. We're trying to finish this video, so get me done. Shh! Be quiet!
Yeah, so just looks like once he spread the rain, so they dreamt in vain. Once he spread the wheat, he made garlands for his feet. So it looks like, ancient people used to pray to the gods for rain and for their crops and all that in prayer and culture. Until the lily poet of our times, horizon on the line, love became the in theme them, opposing fakers thrice by 10. So it looks like that's a really interesting stanza because it's kind of like the evolution from the initial tribalism where you just want the gods to, fix your economic situation. Yeah. But then it changed, it switched from that to God is a God of love, which is more of an emotional thing. Mm-hmm. That's just very interesting look at it.
Yeah.
Like, we've evolved as humanity from going from, hey, just get us the rain and the crops, mm-hmm. to, hey, you should love me.
It kind of seems to me that they're talking about, now that we're talking about it, and maybe this is what you're saying, but it seems like they're talking about all people that have put themselves up as God, whether that's Jesus Christ when he came, or it's Caesar, or it's, you know what I mean, like Caesar had his face on a coin, right?
Right.
Like all these
True.
people, the garland at the feet, you know what I mean, sounds more like around that time. And then he just says, don't perceive his empty plea, that redundant effigy. It just seems like someone that, like, almost like, somebody that's always coming, that's always trying to put themselves on top, you know what I mean? Like the God in his alcove, whether it's Caesar in, his place, or it's Jesus in his time, or is this or that. Not, I guess, but to have that view, you would have to misunderstand what Jesus was doing, because he was not at all like any of the other people that came before him or after him.
Yeah, but at the end of the song, it says, now I am silly. He's a God, he's saying, now I'm silly. I think at the end of the song,
yeah,
he ends up being personified as the God that he was talking to.
Oh.
So now he's saying... Because
he was an artist? Do you think, people start, like, lifting like that, you mean?
Well, I think... Yeah, I don't know if he's, like, literally meaning himself. I just think it's a way for him to say that we've now evolved to the point where the concept of God itself is now silly. And so at the very, very end, he's, like, personifying that God and saying, look how silly this is, yada, yada, yada. Which, of course, I think if there is no God, it would be silly. Or if God could be relegated to a little alcove in your little house. Didn't you have a family member where she would do that? She would take her little Jesus statue, and when she was mad at Jesus, she would...
She didn't get what she wanted. She'd turn him, put him in the corner.
Stuck for a law.
I know. I think it was a picture.
Yeah, it's really, really... The sound was very, like, stripped down and very, very basic, and his vocal style was kind of... I'm looking here, it says they're a goth rock band from England.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's got that kind of goth sound to it.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of his vocals, but then they kind of got alright.
So we had some goth kids at our school, and I never hung out with them because they were just, the makeup thing, it was just too much for me, man. It was too much for me.
I could have got into that.
But,
for sure.
Now, I wish, listening to this song, Typo, I think Duran Duran was another one we listened to. Now I regret, like, not getting to know at least one of them. Mm-hmm. Like, I wish I'd have got to know at least one of them, because it just seems like a very, very interesting subculture within the whole world of metal and all that jazz. What do you give the song?
Yeah. 8. Maybe even a 7.9.
It's like 8. I think it's a 9, because I think lyrically, I thought the lyrics were really, really strong, and I thought he was really clever, especially with the Judas angle, the opposing fakers thrice by 10. So I think it had very, very strong lyricism. I just thought that the
delivery. I
wish the music would have, especially if it's goth. I'd like to hear some synth.
Yeah.
Because they were big on that, especially in the 80s. But maybe. I mean, these guys are probably a pioneering band, because 1980, like, you didn't really. I'm pretty sure that's when, like, the early 80s is when this type of music, the goth rock kind of took off. So, maybe it's like 5 years too soon to hear some more synth. But I thought lyrically it was really, really good. So that dictates a lot of. That's a 9 for me. So.
All right. 8 for me, 9 for you.
Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.
Silly.